starting the interview now.
I didn't hear that. Do you want to do that one more time with the original sound on?
Yeah. Okay, ready? We're starting it now.
I can't hear you clap.
It doesn't matter. We saw it in the video. I'm the one giving the time codes anyways. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Shay The Good People. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I am really freaking excited to interview one of the greatest voices in the world.
Oh, wow.
And a really good friend of mine, Jackson Perrin. Welcome to Shay The Good People podcast.
Thank you. Well, yes. I'm excited to be on this medium, this form.
I know. This is a Zoom. We're doing a Zoom interview, which I haven't done yet for Shay, which is totally cool because that's what we're all about here. Being musicians and artists, we're just trying, we're taking messy action, and we're going forward.
Yes. Innovation forward, you know?
Innovation station, that's where we're at. And so we've known each other for a while, but the way that I got you on Shay and the Good People is you actually were the guest host. You're the only guest host of Shay and the Good People. So Jack and the Good People, it was July 2022. So as we're recording this now, it's like a year ago, which I was half bummed that I couldn't see your show, but you're literally the only person I would ever trust to host the show and to just curate a night. Because I know you and I really believe in community. We believe in bringing music together. We believe in just people being in the room and with no expectation. I actually think you're better than that at that.
No. Stop. No, I mean, let's be real. I met you through you curating these things. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that you were like, they're type A enough, like me, to probably put this shit together, right? That's probably what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm confused. I'm mostly controlling of myself, but I don't know if I'm even I'm definitely not even a perfectionist. I actually don't know how I come across for people, but for me, I feel like whatever, I just do it. I just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. But I think other people see the finished project and they're like, oh, Shayna must be a hard ass. And I'm really not. But
a kind hard ass, a kind type A.
like a soft ass, like a soft hard ass. But okay, we've been friends for a while, but I want to know, and I know a little bit about you. I know a little bit about your family and a little bit about your history, but I don't really know how you got started even singing or playing music. You guys will hear some of the set from the Jack and the Good People show, but Jackson you truly have one of the most amazing and bizarre instruments of a voice. It is so good, and no one sounds like you.
Wow, I really appreciate that. I think I really started. I was singing since I was 5, 6, 7. I was just imitating sounds. I think I think about sound in general or music. It doesn't start anywhere aside from imitation, right? Language, phonetics. I think it's interesting how we think it all starts from they learn their colors and then they learn how to sound the words out. No, I think you just learn from just trying to make that sound. So I was always constantly just making noise, and I think I was given a lot of space to do so by my family, and that was very kind of them, and I'm really grateful for that. And I was very privileged to live in a home that encouraged it. I look at so I teach now, and a lot of the students I teach, I think a lot of them have the same story of them having not everyone has the same story. Let me rephrase that. A lot of people who I see have a natural, quote unquote, or a default to singing. They grew up in spaces that allowed them to just kind of express and experiment with sound. So then I got into singing. I did choir. I did a lot of musicals. I'll be real. The reason why I did musicals growing up is just because it was a place that people sing. You could sing there. So I started doing that. I think the acting thing was kind of yeah, I guess that's part of the singing thing. So I'll just do musicals, I guess. I don't think I realized later down the road it wasn't about even when I was just singing to just sing songs, it was still, I was expressing my story of why I did it. And why I did it, it came from just a passion and a feeling and an emotion. And it was kind of how I like look at, like, it's my expression of energy. I really appreciate you saying that it's a unique voice. I think what it comes down to is I think I've lived I think the set of circumstances I have, being an adoptee, my father being an adoptee, just kind of constantly looking for what feels good, what feels right to sound like. In that exploration and that honesty towards myself, I just kind of collected a lot of sounds that I feel inspired by and have made the sound I have. Yeah. So yeah, that's really kind of how it all started. I'll say that when it came to writing music, I got to New York and I was like, nobody wants to hear me sing anymore, so I'm gonna have to make my own music. And it was I don't think it was the truth, to be honest, but it was like, it was a very chip on my shoulder kind of venture. And I'm happy that I did that because I have music. Do I think it was the most spiritually efficient route? Probably not. But I'm happy that I took that route anyways.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess well, first of all, I'm glad that you took that route also.
Thanks.
And we don't really know, like, what is the most spiritually sound route until kind of the end, right? Like, when we finish this, like, iteration of, at least I can only speak for myself. I'm like, I'm just trying to go and do as much as I can and trust my intuition until, like, maybe at the end, like, at death, then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what that was all about. Maybe.
I think that's literally it. To be like, not to go into a whole spiritual chat, but I think that's what that really is. It truly is that. It's you find something that you really, any success is something my mentor kind of gave me. It's like every success you have sits on a pile of failure, right? So everything that you discover is a truth. It sits on not things that are false, but things that were maybe unhelpful. So then you get to the next thing that kind of helps you go along, like to the next point of your journey. But I definitely feel like I resonate when you get somewhere and you feel like you figure it out, then you feel like you don't have that figured out, and then you keep chasing it, and then you figure it out, and you don't have that figured out. It's a constant contradiction of what you have figured out and what you don't. And then I think the reality is that you suddenly realize, oh, I don't have anything figured out until I think the big last the big breath, right? And then whatever happens there, who knows?
Truly. I mean, well, heaven, obviously.
Yes. Or if you are a sinner, you go to that bad place. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Jews don't have that. We don't have that.
Yes. Heard this.
Yeah, it's a little bit more doom and gloom of, like, you better figure it out now. Like, there's no reincarnation in Judaism. Like, you figure it out now. You got to do what you got to do now because this is freaking it. And I was like, what about, like, my past life? And, like, what about, like, my rising and descending?
They're like, keep that pseudo witchcraft out of this. It's like, I think it's all of it, though. I really do. I really do believe these are all tools and constructs to get us closer to the channel of spirituality. I think we prioritize material channels, particularly in the U.S., because I think we really want the beginning, the middle, and the end. I think my therapist has really helped me understand that. And but there's always a lights up tomorrow, which I think is quite is the comical part of it all. It's like we think it's all over, and until once again the big goodbye, there's always a tomorrow, and there's always a lights up, and no matter if we have conflict or we get everything we want, there's always going to be another day. And I think that's kind of the big joke is on us at that point.
Oh yeah, it's all a cosmic joke, and it is like
cosmic joke, yes,
in like a fun, light way of, like, isn't it so funny? And I've been trying to just laugh at myself a little bit more when I get freaked out about things that aren't real or haven't happened, because I tend to future trip. That's my kind of anxiety.
Yeah, I definitely get down and dirty with the past.
Right, you're past. There's got to be a word for that. The past girly.
Depression is that's what.
Right. Well, I have that too, but that manifests because I'm like, so the fear of the future. But, like,
yes,
yeah, it's either the past or you're still stuck in the past, or you're, like, too much in the future.
Totally.
incredible New York sounds. I don't know if that's coming through, right?
No, it's not. The Zoom, the technology brought to you by Zoom, it's doing a great work. It's doing
Incredible. I was shitting on it earlier, and it actually is doing
You were
wonderful.
shitting on the AI voice. You weren't shitting
I was
on
shitting on the
the
voice note. It's like,
platform.
and now recording. I'm like, we haven't moved past that. We haven't hired anyone like Bradley Cooper to do the voice of that one.
You know, if they did Bradley Cooper, if they did get Bradley Cooper, I would feel better about why I pay more and more and more for this fucking subscription all the time. I'm like, what am I paying for?
I actually don't want Bradley Cooper. I would want like an Australian. I would want like an Australian accent, I think.
Margot Robbie. There you go.
Recording now. I can't even do it now. No, that's not right.
What is that?
I don't know. That's embarrassing. We'll cut that. So something that you said about even like I very much identify with singing like from forever, like always singing. I literally found my baby book that my mom wrote when I was born. And she had written in it when I was 2 in like 1992. She had the date on it that she came back from a late night at work, and my babysitter was there, and she heard me singing up in the crib. And she was like, I really didn't want to interrupt you, but I just had to go in and like hear you sing. And I was like, okay, that's right. I've been doing this since day one.
Did you grow up around a lot of music yourself? Is that something that was just nurtured in the home, or?
I don't think so. Okay, very cute. This interview is about you, but we're gonna for a second. No,
I always get very insecure when I talk to my therapist. I'm like, can I ask about you now?
I know. Well, that's something. I think that's why like we've stayed friends for this long. I don't even know if it's that long, but also just like we can go a long time without talking, and then we talk, and we'll talk for forever, because I think both of us are just inherently curious about people.
Yeah.
And true. Not everybody is. And I don't know if it's a trauma response of like, well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Or if it's just like, we're innately like just curious about people. But I will, back to your question. Like,
no, that's a great point though. Sorry. No, there's so many branches this could go. I'll just leave it at like, I do hear what you mean. I definitely was that person that would go, tell me more about you, because I'm having massive anxiety right now. And I know it's a great way to get people to like me if they just talk about themselves. No. I definitely turned that more towards, I think of the balance of that, of like genuine curiosity, or like unadulterated curiosity, as I would say, is more direction now. But what you were saying, please.
Well, and you live in Texas now, so I don't get to see you that often. So
yes.
I have so many questions whenever I see you, but that's why you're a perfect guest for the pod. So I don't think I necessarily grew up around a lot of music. Like my dad's a drummer now, but he was not playing drums when I was younger. He loved music. Like there was always CDs. He had like racks and racks of CDs. I think he worked for a radio station in college. He was a bodyguard at RFK Stadium in DC, where there's tons and tons of concerts. In college, he was a bodyguard, so he could see concerts for free. Like that was his. And he has like this signed headshot from Dionne Warwick.
What?
Yeah, that's like when he saw the concert, and he's like, it's like tucked away. It was when we lived together when my dad was in the house growing up. I remember that in the basement, but I don't really know. Like, I think my mom played a lot of music when she was pregnant with me, but I just like all of us, like we just come into the world with a specific mission and a specific gift. And it doesn't even have to be like, I'm not expecting to be like a famous singer, or like I would love to get a certain level of notoriety and respect, but like I know I will always sing, and it has been a part of my life forever.
Yeah.
So, similarly, like we just kind of find, I think you and I, on top of loving community and music, we don't wait for other people to give us opportunities. Like I love that you had mentioned like, oh, this like auditioning wasn't working out, so I'm going to start writing music.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that flowed really well, like as soon as you made that decision?
Sorry, one more time?
Do you think it flowed really well writing songs like as soon as you made that decision?
No, but it definitely started the journey of understanding that it's I wouldn't say it flowed well, but it definitely kind of propelled or it released the stagnation of feeling kind of I guess resentful. And it became it wasn't like song. It was more like, oh, now I have an outlet to have relevance for this craft. 'Cause it's just a skill. It's just a craft. And then now even writing was its own craft. And it's music is, I look at it as like a massive like tree with so many roots, right? Like the amount of skills within said skill, it just starts. It's hilarious how much things can stack on it. It can go into music production, it can go to mixing, it can go to audio engineering, go into the science of just resonance. It can go into how to tell a story, exploring how great singers and writers have used templates and tools to express stories. It never stops. So I think it got me on a journey of just seeing how massive this really was and how also much I needed people to continue the journey. I think that's what was
Yeah.
really lovely about it is it brought me to more people. And I think that then brought me to more curiosity about what the hell this was. And I think what I figured out is these are just canvases. Everything is just a canvas, and it means nothing without the person expressing it and being
Yeah.
vulnerable with it.
Yeah. And I see, and I also, it also must bring you great joy to perform. Like when I see you with your full band, like I see you in a version of yourself, or maybe the version of yourself that you really, really can let go and just be completely you.
Yeah, I do feel that way, and I appreciate you seeing that and recognizing that. I think it was one like the only way for a long time I could feel that kind of freedom and just release. And I think in some ways it is. It's its own very special outlet. I think what I've unlocking that for the students or the students I get to work with here has been also just a really phenomenal adventure in itself of being like, no, this is just a thing you do to express who you are. It's not you. You're not a singer. That's something you do. You are you, and it's something you do to express who you are. And freeing people of that is first, of course, starting with mechanics of how to make the sound, of course. But it's quite fun. This year I teach the freshmen, and all the first semester is just understanding the pedagogy of just production of sound, of like airflow mechanics from like your lungs and all the muscles around there to like the creation of sound at the point of your vocal cords. And it's all just this language, and it's all about mechanics. And then they'll sing a song, and they'll probably go, "Hey, how was it?" And if it's all pitch accurate, and it's the what we call the weight, like the breathiness or the restriction we want, I'll just go, "Great, you did. It's all there." But it doesn't mean anything yet because they haven't learned what it's like to put themselves in it yet, or they have that too, and they might actually like already be doing that. That's also really great. But there's a lot of tools to stack on that. So without all the humanity in it, it means, I say it's not meaningless, but it means less. It means less because there's not a person in it yet. And it sounds great, but look, AI can do it now. AI can make robots sound like Drake, and like, but it doesn't feel like Drake. It doesn't feel like that problematic human that we all know and love sometimes. It's still missing the human touch. And I think getting people away from the idea of doing it right and perfection and being a human within the skill, it has also given me a lot of release, has also given me a lot of reward because I know what it's like to chase the sound that you hope that people will like as opposed to just chasing the sound that is coming from you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a super powerful practice. And that saying of like, when you teach something, you learn it twice.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, all of the skill set is really important. And I do remember being in school and having voice lessons. Like I was taking voice lessons when I was like 10 or 11 or 12 or something, and continued through college, not with the same person, but with multiple people, and like really wanting it to sound so specific. And then that's really important technique. And they need a teacher like you, like people who want to sing and who want to be on stage and singing. Like they need a teacher like you who has that actual real life, like, dare I say it, New York experience, which is like a fucking hustle, which I think affects your voice and affects your storytelling, because it is such an intense grind at times in New York that like affects you as a performer. So you're coming to your students with like all of this history that we carry in our voice, like in our throat chakra, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a great way.
Yeah, so then I can only imagine that like you're able to tune in, like, yeah, that's the good technique, but like can see, maybe feel you're maybe holding back, or maybe you're scared to kind of really let yourself sing. Like I can see you really want to sing, or, you know, it's the voice has so much, I feel like has so much to do with our emotional body too, because it's vibration and stuff like that. But
Yeah, 100%, 1,000%. Yeah, it's interesting. I often feel like someone would maybe, if they watched me work, particularly if they had no context of the language of which we use here, they'd watch me work and they go, "Yo, stay in your lane. Just teach them how to sing." But it's like I'm not a sound teacher. I'm a voice coach. I'm
yeah,
not a sound coach. I'm a voice coach. And a voice it means that like it includes the human experience. So if it's not attached to the why, like specificity all day. But if you go from like a really like restricted to like a really breathy moment in the song, if there's not connected to a reason why you're doing it, it just what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. It's nonsensical because it just doesn't have any relevance. Yeah, I'm very passionate about that because I don't know. I think as a kid, I wonder if you feel very similar. People would just go, "Wow, your voice." But I often sometimes now wonder, was it my voice or was it me? Was it the human? Was it like something tapped in? The thing that you're saying that like started you singing, the thing that got me singing. It's important to you. It's important to me. So you're singing someone, you're hearing someone, you're listening to someone who finds this thing very important to their story. So then you're like, oh shit, you sound so good. And sure, you could maybe be like break it down to something objective like pitch and tone and like the shaping of it and how loud and strong it is. But I really do believe that that's a byproduct of the person living a moment, and it is really it's really interesting. I started breaking that down a lot with artists in general. It's like you hear these kids talk about Taylor Swift, and I think she's a great example to look at. I really do. It's like, but do you love Taylor Swift songs or do you love Taylor Swift? Do you love Taylor Swift merch or do you love Taylor Swift? Do you love the person or do you love what they made? What they make just get you closer to the person, and it makes you start. I mean, you can call that marketing, right? But it's still just like, oh, it's all the marketing. If you're not actually breaking down what the fuck you're talking about with marketing, you're not getting anything closer to the objective or the goal of trying to get people to want to listen to you. The skills mean nothing. They actually want to be with you, and that is just mind blowing to me. It's not the information matters. But what matters more is who's telling you.
yeah,
Blows my mind.
yeah, totally. And I think that's so important for it's so important for everyone to know. It's important for every artist to know, even young artists. But as you were saying, as I that was coming out of my mouth, like it's so important for to tell like young people or young musicians or young songwriters, like, even though I still feel young, like it's about you,
Yeah.
like find your voice and be who you are. I would have not really understood that in my early 20s because I just wanted the gig so bad, you know what I mean? But that's okay. I think you have to go through the wanting to be a part of a group or wanting to be a person or wanting to be a part of something else so that slowly you can remember, like once remember who you are. And that comes with like self-work, that comes with breakdowns, that comes with breakups, that comes with failure.
You're right.
That comes with not getting the gig, that comes from people saying no to you. Like it's just all a part of the journey. But
Yeah.
I listened back to the Shay and the Good People show of you hosting.
What?
Oh yeah, I always like to listen back to the shows because I do these shows every month and I kind of forget like, and I wasn't even at this show, so I wanted to hear it. And one of your songs were so amazing. It was so cool that you had Alzina and JJ there, and
Wow.
you were doing the show in July, and you had said on stage like, I'm going to be leaving New York soon.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to revisit that of like knowing you for so long in New York and now you've been away for so long. But I'm just curious. I wrote down a question.
Please.
Like you were in New York for 8 years. Like what do you think the most important thing you learned about yourself in those 8 years by living in New York?
Oof.
We go deep, sweetie.
Yeah, no, I think it relates back to what you were saying before, to be honest. Um, I think what I realized. So yes, I started in musical theater, and I used to have like some weird shame about it because I don't think I succeeded in it, and I think I actually this is a big reason why I don't think I did, is because I always kind of believed, or I thought, or I convinced myself that musical theater or music, it never loved me back, never loved me back. And it might sound really simple and silly, but like what I realized when I lived there is that musical theater, it's a template, and the template just means you're singing, you're dancing, and you're acting to tell a story. That's it. So it's kind of hilarious that I thought this empty canvas or just this nothing thing, this piece of paper, could love me back. And what I realized is that I wanted to be loved by people, and I wanted to love people. And I think I learned that in New York. Makes me like tear up because it's hard to chase something that you realize was kind of there all along, you know. So yeah, that's it. I've been crying all the time lately, and it's like, and I tell the kids this, and I'm like, I hope you don't think I'm taking up space. It's just I'm available, and I want to stay in this place. I don't feel like it's weak. I feel like it can easily be, it could be attacked at, but I'm gonna still challenge myself to stay here because
Yeah.
it means that I believe it means that I'm curious and it means that I'm open. But
Yeah.
it brings me to tears because it just, I don't know. I think it's just why I cry when I think about love. When I cry when I think about feeling connected, you know, because
Yeah.
it's an overwhelmingly powerful thing, and I don't think it's not one thing either. I also think I learned just the complexity that it can be two things at once. Like love is just sad, but it also is so beautiful. It's both, and I don't think I had an understanding of how to handle both before I lived there. And I think when you get thrown every kind of sense over sensory, moment, it's like, oh God, no, it is all of it, and it's almost like a shitty, very manifested metaphor of just too much. And that's life. I think it just showed me what life always is, even if it's not that loud. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to put it. I'm so grateful for your openness. I'm so grateful for your vulnerability. Like you're like a true human and a true artist. And I also think, well, one, I think I cry every day. Like crying is so important. It's
Yeah.
emotion, it's energy in motion. And I
Yeah,
think
totally.
if more people allowed themselves to just be open and to release some energy, and sometimes that's through crying, like I truly think we would be in such a better place. It like we wouldn't stuff it down, or it wouldn't turn into anger, or it wouldn't turn into fear. But regardless, like It's just so beautiful and such a great reminder and great reflection to me too of like love. I mean, it's like such a random small four-letter word for something that means like a million and one things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Like it
construct
means,
for sure.
yeah, and it's like it's I think maybe other languages other than English have better words for it, but it's like love is amazing and beautiful and flowery and butterflies, and it's also grief and it's also sad, and like
Yes.
it's not to bring it back to a chorus line, but like the song "What I Did for Love," like
That's my favorite show, to be honest. I love that
it's
show.
so
I
good.
don't dance. I fucking suck at dancing, but I love that show. Yeah, I call
I
it an
mean,
artist love story for sure.
yes, and it is like it is such a maybe some people think it's a little cheesy now because it's just overdone and people in like middle school can do it, but it really is like what other experience do we as actors specifically and singers, you don't even have to have a dance be a dancer, but to have like a pull the curtain up, over,
Yeah.
out, pull the curtain back and reveal like this is what we do for our job. Like this is what we do because we love performing. Like we'll stand in a line on a stage in an afternoon in a leotard and talk about ourselves because we want the gig, but not just the gig. We just want the opportunity for that infinity loop of like, I'm an artist, I'm giving, you're the audience, you give back to me, and I receive it, and then I give it back to you, and you're the audience, and you take it. It's just like, we just, I mean, I just can't get enough
I
of
can't either.
that, like,
No, I
chaotic
really do.
relationship.
If I mean, I honestly like. I think just nurturing, and nurturing can be. It's not just the job of feminine energy. It's mass.
Yeah,
It's. I think I really do believe it's such a construct, and it is non-binary. Um, but I'll think like motherhood, or just nurturing, or
yeah.
guardianship,
Hmm.
just pouring in. I think it is. I think it's highly valued as in a commodity sense, commercialized sense, but I don't know if it's socially prioritized. And I think about that with that idea of like I even think like people who choose family, who choose to like raise kids, or who go, I don't want to. That's not my construct of success anymore. I don't want to be an artist on the stage. I want to just make a fucking garden and make food and provide it to a community. I'm like, that's just your fucking art now. And I think the sacrifice is always what you did for love, right? It's always you're doing it for love, and everyone's love means something different. And I think that's why I actually like musicals again, because I go, oh, I don't give a fuck what that word means or what that character's saying. And of course, if you just break down the character out of context, it's going to look stupid. But it is, if the somebody approaches it with complete compassion and empathy and just a dissection of their own bias, any show can be well done, really well done. Dear Evan Hansen, it gets like a bad rap. It really does. It's like, oh, it's a whiny show. And it's like, if you really look at that show, it's like, if you really think about this person compassionately, this person wants human connection so bad, they make this ridiculous lie up about someone who killed themselves. And it's like super melodramatic, sure, but it's kind of like a cautionary tale of what society does to young people. And it's like really breaks me down. I'm like, damn, like we make we make kids feel that way. We make kids feel alone, and it breaks me down as I think this is not as simple as just a whiny story. It is a whiny story if you just look at the goddamn words, but nothing, especially when lyrics are taken out of context of a song, they look dumb because there's so much context missing. Um, yeah, and yeah, it's just really fascinating. Music is kind of incredible like that. It is a portal in.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could talk to you forever and I know you have to run, but
No, no,
like
no, it's good.
it's a portal in and it's been a portal for so long and it also used
Absolutely.
to be so what's the word? Like it used to only be for the court, for the kings, for the queens. Like it only
Oh
used to be
wow,
like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
small music for, at special occasions, and it's just being an artist, just
it used to be secular, really, a lot of times. Only
Yeah.
for God in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah.
But
Not
then there was not Happy Birthday, it's just a non secular fucking song. Just like Happy
right.
Birthday. It's
Yeah.
culture.
But regardless, like all of that, I'm just so grateful that you are an artist. I'm so grateful that you are a singer and using your voice and teaching the youths. I'm so jealous of these kids who get you as their teacher. I'm so jealous. I wish you were my voice teacher when, I mean, now, but also when I was a kid. I just missed, like, I just missed, well, this is maybe for another podcast, but like, I think it makes such a difference if there's just one person, one consistent adult in a young artist, young singer's life that's like, hey, you got this. And if you have any questions, call me at any time. Like, if you're scared, call me. Like, and I'm not saying that you are saying that to your kids at all. I don't know, but like, I know your heart is there and I know you really care about what you're doing. And I'm really glad that you are here in the world doing your thing.
Well, to answer that, yes, of course. But then also, I feel very grateful for your recognition, and you have always been such an incredible person to uplift and really provide platform for people's music, and I've seen that since I've met you. And I told you, like, the first time I met you was the basement social, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to
Yeah.
do that so bad. I just want to share my music with people like that. And I mean, it's funny because I think mentorship is a really weird word because sometimes people say mentor, they're my mentor, and it sounds like they're just their bully or their boss. You know, and it's weird, but or their inspiration, right? And I don't believe that mentor is an age thing. It is someone who inspires you, is someone who helps you, guides you, and
Right.
you were one of the first mentors for me of being like someone who just brings people into space. You bring people there, you tell people you're doing it, and people who show up. And the people who don't, you don't fucking poo poo on all the people who did by talking about who didn't. It's about celebrating the ones who were there. It's about showing up for each other. And you were a mentor in my life to even know where to start and where to and what I wanted to even ask for. So I appreciate you and thank you for having me on your show and letting me host your baby and letting me be on the podcast. It means a lot.
Oh my God, of course. Well, it's just turned into a love fest, folks. But can't, sorry, we can't help it. But I love you so much, Jackson. Tell the folks listening at home or in the car, where can they find you on socials? Where can they listen to your
Yes.
music? Because I know you have some music out in the world.
Yes, my band or my project, my pseudonym is Jack Mogi. It's you can find me on Instagram at Jack X Mogi, and all my stuff is put out as a Jack Mogi and the After Party. It's on all the shit, all that stuff, all the
Amazing.
subscription that everyone's buying too many of these days. You know.
Amazing. Go listen to Jack's music. Go follow them on Instagram and just say hi. And yeah, I love you so much. Thank you for being on the pod.
I love you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
I'll
Bye,
stop it.
guys.
Bye.